Hello, everyone, and welcome on into the Bat MLB Player Props with none other than Derek Carty of EVAnalytics. I'm Tom Viola from Unabated, and it is great to be back here with you guys once again. I see Jack Connor and Rye said in the chat already saying good morning, and good morning to you gentlemen as well. And Derek, good morning to you too, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back. I know you were traveling last week, but happy to be back doing the show.
Yeah, it's been a wild August. We had Bet Bash last week. I'm in New Jersey next week. But hey, we've still got some baseball, and then it's coming up. We already had the first preseason week here, Derek. We're going to be back on Fridays talking football real soon.
Yeah, I'm so excited for football. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, you know, like we love you guys. The hardcore faithful are here for baseball. But oh man, the chat gets bumping during football season. We get so many people in here. It's so much fun.
Yeah, no, it's last year was phenomenal. So I'm excited to kind of get back rolling with that.
Yeah, we did have a great record. We had a great year. Hopefully we don't have the same slow start, but the same strong finish here as Yahtzee and Milo Kaminsky also say hello. And good morning to you guys too. And good morning to anyone that I did run into over at Bet Bash last week. It was very fun seeing all of you. And it was very nice seeing the people that came up and were like, hey, we love the show. We love seeing you guys. And we love bringing it to you. So, Derek, I think we should get this ball rolling here. We have some props to get to today. And the first one that we were going to have up on our slate here, we were going to do Jose Quintana, but his line has moved here. So instead, we're going to go over to Zack Wheeler, and we're going into his pitcher walks market here.
Yep, we are looking at Zack Wheeler under 1.5 walks, -105. This has moved a bit since this morning, but still good at this line. MGM is going to have the best line right now. But you can see the Bats projecting, a good more than a quarter of a walk under. We're getting it at pretty close to even money. So this is going to be a good one. Wheeler's a great pitcher. He has good control. He's facing a Washington Nationals offense that is one of the least walk heavy offenses in baseball. And so we're looking at some good value here.
Yeah, and that's what we're always looking for here on this show. Some great value. Like you said, we got some walks going on. And quite frankly, man, what has happened to the Phillies? They were red hot and coming out of the All-Star break. It has been nothing but sadness.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, they were probably not quite as good as they were playing, but they are one of the best teams in baseball. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see down the stretch what happens here.
Blue says we got -130 at 365. So, yeah, you're definitely looking at the BetMGM number right here. You're definitely looking at -105 on the under 1.5 walks. But let's go on to our second play. And then, guys, other than this, it is going to be time for you guys to start throwing your plays, throwing your questions in the chat. We will stick around and answer any prop questions that you all have here. Bob M says -108 at Betano for those in Ontario. And in the meantime, we will go on to our next line. That's going to be, we're going to be sticking with the Phillies because we're going to be going to Bryce Harper.
Yep, we are going to hitter walks, and we're going, I didn't get the bat, but I don't know why it didn't import, but I can put that in.
Yeah, so we'll just pull this up real quick. I mean, sometimes some of these, sometimes some of the stats, the spreadsheets, the coding, it's all a bunch of wires and stuff that gets thrown in there. But here we go. We're projecting them for 0.65 walks.
Yep, the Bat's projecting 0.65 walks. You can see over 165 at MGM is showing some pretty good value. If you go to Bet365, you can find +170. That's going to be the best line on the board, I think. But that 165 is still easily playable. Harper's a guy who walks a ton. Had been going through a bit of a rough stretch, as you kind of mentioned, like Phillies struggling in general. Harper got hurt, came back, wasn't doing very well. Finally seems to be back to his old self, has like a 400 WOBA over the last week or so, has been walking more. As he starts to hit, pitchers are going to respect him more, going to pitch around him a little bit more. The walks are going to be there. So yeah, this is a spot where, I bet Harper walks quite a bit this year. It's weird because you don't usually bet overs on stars. Like Aaron Judge walks, you're never seeing value on the over. But for whatever reason, from time to time, they will give us value on Harper, and it's done well. So I'm kind of going back to that today.
Yeah, he's one of those pitchers that, one of those batters that when you're facing up against him and he's running hot, people are much more inclined to walk him. Like you said, they give him a little more respect as he rounds back into form. You saw that photo of him that was going viral a couple days ago. Here, he certainly wasn't looking back, but he has been feeling it a little bit more lately here. Now, Derek, we are starting to get towards this point in the season. I mean, weather is very, very uniform around the country. Yahtzee says the walks market has been good this year. It definitely has been pretty good to us. But we were talking about the fact weather is pretty uniform at this point. We're starting to get a little more hitter friendly. But are we also just starting to get to the point in the year where we've got just really lines are getting sharper and it's getting a little bit tougher to find value across the board? Are you finding that? Or are you still finding a lot of value in the prop markets here?
No, I've definitely noticed since the All-Star break, there's been less value than there was, in May, in June. There's still some there, but not as many not as high of a quantity. And then the ones that do show value are not showing as high a value as we were seeing earlier in the year. So it's actually been not a great month for me, kind of treading water. I think I'm down slightly. But there are always going to be just kind of natural ebbs and flows with betting. It's not anything to worry about. If there's value there, we bet it, and that's fine.
Exactly. We're still betting the value on the board. It's just that pickings are getting a little slimmer as the markets get sharper as we move in across the season here. But hey, again, the good news is we've got a whole fresh market coming in with football coming up real soon. Again, so excited. We'll be back here Fridays at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time, doing our prop thing. But right now, it is time for you guys to throw your questions in the chat. Lob any fastballs down the plate. We'll see what we can hit out of the park here for you guys. As Ryan Moran says, he's been placing bets on Bet Rivers, and sometimes they won't let him bet the amount he wants, and sometimes they do. Is that a limit on me or just not a lot of liquidity? I'm guessing that it's going to depend more on the prop that you're picking, and they're going to have, obviously, much more of a desire to get very small limits on more obscure props. Like if you want to hit pitcher strikeouts, I'm sure you're going to be getting more down than if you want to hit hitter strikeouts and things like that. But yeah, Bet Rivers is going to be pretty quick to limit you. That's definitely an account that a lot of people try to treat like gold. Canby books are very quick on the trigger there. You got to watch out for that. So be careful when you're betting a lot of these props at some of these places. That is that is going to be my biggest recommendation. And Milo Kaminsky says, I think the value is pretty swingy. There are days when he's involved, and then there's days where he's mega light. And yeah, we're going to be having that down the stretch here. As Amari says, love the show, fellas. Keep at it. Doing great. Thank you so much, Amari. Milo agrees. Canby books suck. They limit a ton and quickly. And Ryan says it's usually first 5 innings. That is very interesting. What do you think about that, Derek? Do you ever see it where you're getting some days they'll let you and some days they won't? I'm guessing that's definitely not a limit on him if he's sometimes able to get it down.
Yeah, not really in my personal experience. I mean, books sometimes, not as much with props, but obviously like with game lines and stuff, limits will be different depending on when you bet. Like limits will be lower right when they first open, and then they'll raise, later on as they kind of get information and sharpen the line. Again, not as much with props, but yeah, maybe that could be part of what you're seeing if you're betting at different times.
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, Milo also saying Canby is the only book that's inconsistent. So yeah, maybe it is something with how they limit. It's a strange operation over there sometimes, for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, those are our two props that we were looking at here. We were looking at Bryce Harper's walks, and we were looking at Zack Wheeler pitcher walks, and yep, finding some value on the over of both of those. And quite frankly,
under on Wheeler.
Under on Wheeler. I was gonna say, I was like, wait a second, because I was like, wow, 2 overs in the day for us is a little much. But that is going to do it for the props that we have. If you want to throw your questions in the chat, now is the time. Speak now or forever hold your peace. And otherwise, Derek, I'm going to point out, like you said, we will be coming back here for football in just a few short weeks. I am very excited. And if people want to get their subscription, get in now. If you want to get in now and you don't have a subscription yet with Unabated, up until Friday here, we're going to be running our best deal of the year. You get premium for the entire NFL season. Our NFL early bird special is going on right now. Just go to unabated.com/pricing and you can get up to January 5th, the end of the regular season for the NFL. You get for $600, you get premium. So that's like less than $120 a month or something like that. It's a great deal. It's a great offer. If you guys want to check that out, you can use the link in the description of this video as well and sign up for a demo. And we will be, you sign up for a demo. It's most likely going to be me sitting down with you, and we will be talking through all of the different tools that we have, from our awesome prop screen here to our main markets, to our main lines and everything. And the best part is you can scroll down to that little drop down menu up there where it says the BATX. You can find the BATX for yourself, purchase your subscription, and it's going to automatically link and sync to your account, just like it has for Derek here, where it does bring in the lines. The Bryce Harper one, I know it didn't come in, but it does normally bring in all of the lines from the BATX projections, so you can immediately use them in our prop simulator here. Yahtzee says, has the change to pitcher outs coming? David Hayward says the same thing. Probably not until next season. At this point, our engineers have had to shift over and start focusing on football, but we are working on getting that. Nathaniel Pucci says, Bryce Miller just spiked on the under. Did news come out about him? I am not sure about that. Ryan asks, you think batter K's will return? Yeah, batter strikeouts probably not returning. I think we killed that market here, Derek.
Batter strikeouts actually did come back at DraftKings. MGM hasn't put them back yet. The lines haven't been as exploitable as they were earlier in the year, so I'm hoping there's not a systematic change to how they're doing those. But we'll see. I'm definitely monitoring it. There has been some value, and it's just nice for it to be offered again.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Tyler Jackson asks, thoughts on Nick Pivetta over 5.5 strikeouts at +126. It's an alt line on Caesars.
Well, we can pull up Pavetta's projection for a second.
Yeah, let's take a look.
First, we'll stick with Miller just for 1 second to finish that out. So it looks like did a line maybe just move? Like this Rivers line looks very different than like this -154 or -130 over here.
Bet Rivers is probably slow to update here. These lines are moving. Brad Dillon says bad Detroit lineup. There's a bad Detroit lineup. Miller projection has gone up.
Okay, yeah.
Miller projection will go up.
So yeah, the bats now. The new projection is 504 for Miller. I probably just need to refresh the screen and it'll show up, but I'll just put it in. So yeah, less value on Miller now with this new lineup.
Yeah, and Bet Rivers is, as usual, slow to update their line here. Alex and Jeff says Fliff has them too for hitter strikeouts. But yeah, let's get back to that Nick Pivetta question there.
Yes.
We're looking at over 5.5, so we'll pull up his number.
So we're projecting almost 5.5. What were the odds on it?
+126. I'm going to guess you have a little bit of value there.
A little bit, probably not enough for me to be worth betting. Because I mean, it's almost 5.5, but you have to consider the distribution. It's probably more true like a 5.3. So maybe you're 45% to go over. I think I'd want something more like +140, +150. Think about that one.
Yeah, that sounds about right, especially because we have to add a whole extra strikeout on, and that is a big ask there. Derek M says, can you show the top home run props for the day? We sure can. Home runs are a very tough market to beat, but we will show you what we've got as far as the best value on the board for you today. But yeah, this is one of the more difficult markets in sports to beat, so definitely be careful about that. A lot of high variance.
Yeah, and it's just that the books don't offer good odds. At least this year they haven't.
Yeah.
The home run environment's kind of been down a little bit, and books just don't really care. They know people want to bet their home run overs, and that's how they set their lines.
Mm-hmm. Bob M says +140 on Pivetta at Bet365.
That's not terrible.
Not terrible. And
Rye run the math on it, but that's not terrible.
Mm-hmm. Rye said here with a great point. A good way to use the unabated for an alt like Pivetta is to plug his projection into a player that has a 5.5 line. Because we don't have a generic prop simulator for MLB players just yet. But that is a little bit of a workaround. Like, it's not going to be perfect, but there's a little bit of information to be gleaned from it for sure. I don't question the tactic.
Yeah. So looking at home runs here, it looks like there's some value in this Mets Oakland game. Citi
If you
Field, even though it's a pitcher's park, is actually a positive park for home runs. Oakland is one of the worst park for home runs. So this is a good upgrade in terms of power for the Oakland guys. It's a downgrade for the Oakland pitcher. I mean, we're not showing anything crazy value here, but there's a little bit.
Yeah, if you scroll all the way to the bottom and then bring it back up, it'll refresh a few of these guys, and we'll see some more games start to pop up in the tab there. And so let's just scroll all the way down, and then if you just bring it back up, bam. Now we got okay.
Cedric Mullins is showing some value. Yeah, I mean that's certainly bettable.
Yeah. Cedric Mullins, all right, there's our home run call for the day. I think we're like 2 for 3 on this show. So Cedric Mullins is going to be our home run pick for the day here. Definitely not an official play, but that is what's showing value on the board. So hopefully Mullins and the Orioles can go yard against Boston here. Tank Perry says, how do you determine if there is enough value to be playable? I'll let you answer, Derek, but I will say a lot of it's going to be in the percentage there, like 49%. Now, it's going to vary a little bit more. You're looking for higher numbers when you're doing home run markets and stuff like that. But on pitcher strikeouts, I'm looking in that like 20 to 40% range. And that's telling me maybe up to 20 to 50. And that's telling me, hey, there's an edge here. But what do you think?
Yeah, I'm generally not looking at anything under 20%. I mean, you can, but it's kind of personal risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Like projections are not going to be exact. It's not going to be exactly a 20% edge. So you need to leave a little bit of wiggle room for just kind of the variance and uncertainty of projections and props. So for me, anything over 20%, I'm considering. Anything over 30%, I'm strongly considering. And from there, I'm kind of just picking the ones that I like the best out of that, out of that pool.
Yeah, and that is definitely the way to do it. Amari Nwogu says, for baseball, how do you feel about total base props versus hit props, Derek?
I don't do a lot of them. If anything, I'll do more unders, which we talk about sometimes. Like, I think the books are not always great at projecting volume for certain types of batters. And so, I'll look at the unders on those. Hitter strikeouts, same thing. You can look at the unders on those with kind of the same angle. For whatever reason, I wind up more on hits than total bases, but a lot of times it's the same line too. If it's a 0.5, it's literally the same bet. So you just take whichever line is better.
Yeah.
Again, hasn't been one of my go-to markets this year, but I've done it a little bit.
Yep. Same here. Like it hasn't been the thing that because like I like a little bit more of the lower variance stuff in baseball. It's such a grind with some of these where you're just playing these high variance plays and you're going to have bad stretches, but you got to play it out through the whole 162 here. But yeah, props like that, it very much is going to depend on what the line is. Pay attention to if it's actually the same bet. Everything that Derek just said, basically. Tank Perry says, thanks, learning a lot watching. Hey, thank you for watching, and thank everyone for watching. It looks like we're out of questions in the chat. If someone slides one in here at the end, we'll try and get you in. But in the meantime, Derek, that is going to do it for us, possibly for the season. We'll see. Isn't all of baseball high variance as Yahtzee? Yeah, it is. All of it is. That's why it's such a grind.
Kind of is. I mean, that's the main thing we want to stress, because baseball is super high variance, but it's also a very long season where you can accrue a very high sample size. So,
yeah,
you're not betting the farm on Cedric Mullins today. Like, you're betting a portion of a unit, and you're betting bets like that in bulk over the course of a whole season and looking to be profitable that way. It's not the way you're I don't know what to call them. Your loudmouth touts try to talk about. This is a lock today. Of course, this guy's going to hit a home run. Of course, this guy's going to strike out 10 batters. Like, no, like the best you can do is probability and playing a bunch of them in the long run and making a profit like that. That's how actual winning sharp bettors do this.
Exactly. So a reminder, if you want Derek Carty's locks of the day, absolute max mega goat whale plays, we got Zack Wheeler going under his walks allowed, and we've got Bryce Harper over his walk number at, I believe that last one was at BetMGM. We had -105 at BetMGM for Wheeler, and we had +170 at Bet365 for Bryce Harper on those plays there because hey, price absolutely is what rules everything around us. Milo Kaminsky says that's why I volume bet. I don't trust any single bet, but over thousands of bets, I do trust that 20% value number. That's exactly how you do it. And that's what we love to preach on this show about what this game is all about, what sports betting is all about. And thank you all for being with us here so much. I'm traveling to New Jersey the next week. It's a very, very busy August for me here. But that also means that I'll be in the Eastern time zone, and 10 a.m. is much more reasonable for getting this show off the ground. So maybe we'll be able to do a show next week here because I think we need to do at least one more, Derek, before we switch over to football mode. What do you think?
I'd like to, yeah. So if you can make it work, that'd be great.
Yeah, I will do my best. We should be all good to go with that. Just going to depend on a couple travel things, but I can't envision myself having anything particularly important that I have to do at 10 a.m. on Thursday that would preclude us from being able to do the show. So we will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, everybody, you know the drill. Best of luck, and let's cash some tickets. We'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, as always.